During the whole week, traders have been anticipating with bated breath US inflation data for May. They hoped that in May the figure would be better than the negative one locked in April. What actually happened? The long-awaited inflation report showed that the consumer price index jumped by 5% from a year earlier. Some experts believe that rising inflation may force the Fed to raise key rates to halt inflation growth. After the publication of this controversial report, the market reaction was rather strange. Traders were not scared off by the negative report. On the contrary, they massively opened long positions and the main US stock indexes tested the highs of the year. Let's discuss why this happened. Following the results of yesterday's trading, the S&P 500 index increased by 0.5%, reaching 4,239 points. Surprisingly, yesterday it tested the highs of the year from May 10 and closed at exactly the same level. Trading took place in the range of 4,180 to 4,280. However, experts assume that today the index may try to approach the levels of 4,280. Investors are also closely monitoring the situation around Amazon. The US retail giant could be fined more than $425 million under the European Union's privacy law, so the company may face a record European Union privacy fine. It's also quite predictable that the US dollar has weakened after the release of the negative US inflation report. The decision of the European Central Bank to maintain the current monetary policy also pushed down the greenback. However, today the US dollar index unexpectedly rose to the level of 90.40. It managed to rebound following the publication of the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index. The indicator was higher than expected. It means that household confidence in the United States economy is high. However, by Monday, the US dollar index may return to 90.00. The USD CAD pair was trading at 1.2088 today. It's expected to continue to trade within the range from 1.2050 to 1.2150. The strengthening of the Canadian dollar has noticeably stopped in recent days. The loonie failed to rally even after Brent crude rose above $72. Perhaps it failed to regain momentum due to the fact that its pre-launch rally began to have a negative impact on the exchange rate in trade with the United States. Therefore, experts believe that the USD CAD pair is highly likely to decline to the level of 1.2050. For almost 3 weeks, Bitcoin has been fluctuating at the level of $36,000. On Friday, there were no changes as well. Yesterday, we saw a small pullback. Yet today, the quote returned to $37,500. The fact is that today, the trading volumes on the largest crypto exchanges have practically not changed in comparison with the previous days. So, sharp fluctuations are unlikely to occur. However, the long-term outlook for Bitcoin is still positive. Traders remain bullish on Bitcoin. How will the US stock market close the week? Most likely, the bullish bias will prevail and we will see an increase at the close of the week. Yet, analysts warn that such a scenario looks unlikely. US stocks are already trading at their highs, so investors are waiting for a pullback of at least 5%. Currently, they refrain from buying stocks as they are in overbought zone. And that's all for today. We keep monitoring the financial market situation. Subscribe to our channel and see you on Monday. We wish you profitable deals and have a nice weekend.